Here we have the Be Mine Crochet Tapestry pillow pattern, and for all of you that were on the email list, you received it, so let's get started. And this is just the angle that I'm set up so that I can record the other videos as well. So I'm going to go to the pattern. The first part of the pattern is actually done in just your standard pattern instructions. So you will have this, and it's actually out of order, but I had to do it that way just so that the graph could be all on the same page. So here we go. Here's the graph. Forgive me. And I don't know why this looks black and white, but hey, it is what it is. First of all, you see that you have the numbers across the bottom. You also have the numbers across the side. Each square represents a single crochet. I'm going to see so that you won't see my crazy fingers. Okay. So, this row here is row 1. This is row 2, 3, 4, etc. Each across the bottom are single crochet. So that's one single crochet, that's one single crochet. And actually, forgive me, for this pattern, I actually did half double crochets. And the reason why, I will show you once we get to the color portion. It was easier since I have the white background to run the color through the color, like run the white yarn through the red yarn as I was crocheting, because of the thickness of the half double crochet, it covers the yarn. So I'll show you all that in the next video. Now the next thing that I want to show you is that when I do my piece, I actually turn. So for example, here across the bottom, let's just pretend this is your chain stitch where the numbers are here. So then that would mean you would then, your first row technically is right here, is this next row. This is where you would have chained one, and then that next set of boxes, and I'm trying not to color in too much because I have to use this pattern. That next box right there is where you would have chained, and then you do your half double crochet all the way across. Then you would have then you would have chained and then go across. Understand? Now, once I finish the first 2 rows, which are all just solid, your solid background. For me, my background is white. For you, your background may be another color. When I get up to this 3rd row, it's row number 3. Once I get to this 3rd row, I actually take either a stitch marker, and I personally use bobby pins. And you'll see that when I do the first few rows in video. But what I do is I go ahead and I count, and you'll see that from this side to this first color stitch, this is in the 14th stitch. So I actually count over 14 stitches and put a place marker here. I do the same thing on this end. I count in, and it's actually 14 stitches as well. I'm certain, or I'm nearly certain, and then I put a stitch marker there. So it won't matter whether you're coming from the left or right once you have to add in your color, but you've already marked your first stitch of when you have to change color. Here's why I do that. Once I make my way up, I don't actually have to count anymore. I do what I call making the stitch relative to one another, and this is what I mean. If I've gone through this stitch and I'm coming back this other way, I know, because of the first row already being there, that I just need to start my color stitch 1 stitch before the current color section. So as I'm crocheting along, when I get 1 stitch out, I will add my color, and then I know to do 1 out. So I start 1 before and 1 out. So basically it's relative to the color stitches that are already there. That prevents me from having to count all of these spaces. So really the only time I actually count in the beginning is to do those 14 stitches in here, the 14 stitches in here, and I will show you all that. And then from then on, it will be just, okay, I need to start 1 stitch sooner, in 1 stitch after. Start 1 stitch sooner, in 1 stitch after. Then as I go up, as an example, I'm sorry, I have one of these very, very bright lights, but it makes it so that you can see what I'm looking at. And like, for example, here, this is one time when I start counting again, so that I know that I will keep doing it until I have 1, 2, 3, 4, until I need to add coloring at the 4th stitch, and then I count how many rows that I leave it the same, and that's it. So that's one of the only times that I kind of get my counting in. And it makes it so that sometimes I goof, but usually it's easy to cover up. And then you see you have 2 blank rows again, and then I do the same thing here with counting in. Down here I would just say, okay, I go into, and then I know to do the color, and then here's when I have to start counting, because it's the first row. But then when I get to the next row, it's relative to the one before it. And then as I go along, I actually mark, and I didn't bring it in here with me, so forgive me, but I scratch. So on these first rows, I actually only scratch here in this area, like that, until I get to the top, and I actually, do more. And then when I get back to the top of the pattern here, it's the same as the bottom. So I just, once I count in at the stitch marker, and then do it relative to that first color row. Okay, so that's how you read the tapestry. You can decide on your own. I do offer a lot of options, which may drive people crazy, but hey, it's just me. The first option is that you can choose to do single crochet. You would use less yarn, but the blanket is a little thicker when you do half double crochet. Also, half double crochet makes it so that as you're going through in the color areas, you can carry your background color along so that you don't have a bunch of yarn in the back. And I'm going to show you one last thing to give you a relative example. Here's the pattern going bye-bye, and here's the piece. I'm going to try to back up some. Here's the piece. Okay. I'm going to go in. See, each of these are half double crochets. Okay. And I want to turn it over so you can see what I mean by the color changes. As an example, here is the way that your back will look if you just drop and pick up the color when you do color changes. This is the way your back will look if you carry it along. So if I go closer, I'm going to try to go a little closer. You can see those little bits of white? That's because the white is running through there. But remember, when you do it that way, you use a lot more of that base color. But I was okay with that because I did a 1 pound of the white. And I was okay with that. And also I was okay with it because I didn't want it so that the stuffing could squeeze out. And I know that probably wouldn't happen, but that's just me being overly cautious. Here, this is dropping because I do not run the color while I'm doing the background stitch, because I found that I did not want to see those little specks of color in the white. I just like the pure color of the white on its own. So I had to drop and pick up for this section. And then when I made my way here, I once again just ran the white through the color. Okay, so here's the back. Well, this is the beginning on how to read the graphic pattern. You will also have an opportunity to either utilize the graphic pattern that I created, or you will also have the opportunity to do the graphic pattern yourself. And I give you the steps, I give you the image, and you can just create it for yourself and pick right back up with everyone else. So here we go. And tomorrow will be our first official day. If you want to get started early, you can use this time to start on the back of your the back panel. The back panel, you have 2 options. The first option is just to do a solid panel with just your background color. So as an example, for this one, that means you would go do a chain of 52 stitches, and you would make sure that it's 57 rows high, so that you would have, for me, I maybe have a solid white background, and the front would be this panel. Or you can do 2 of these panels, and that's what I intend to do, just so that I already made one and then make another one for the videos. So with if you decide to do just a solid back panel, you can start that tonight or today, and just, you know, do your chain stitch of 52 chains, and then you want to single crochet, have double crochet across your across, which I will show actually in the next video. We are using the back ridge, and I will show you why in the video. And I do that because it makes it easier when it's time to add our border at the end. So here we go. If you have any questions, you can post them here, or you can visit me online at essenceofme.com. Thank you so much. Goodbye.